as you're transitioning out of Mormonism, there's going to come a time when you need to let other people know about your decision, that you've left the church or that you started attending another church or whatever that decision actually is. How do you let people know about your faith transition? That can be an awkward moment. And so we want to talk about how to go about that in the right way and really understand some things that could make that a little bit easier for you. And so tell us a little, really, what do you think is really the first thing the person ought to keep in mind?
Well, I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
I really did want to start telling people because I didn't want to just keep it inside. I felt like I was kind of living a lie if I didn't get it out. So I identified somebody. I wanted to tell people in my ward. That was important to me.
Yeah.
And there was the young women's president. She came to my house one day, and I had already identified her as somebody that I wanted to tell because she's very sweet, and I didn't feel like she would be judgmental.
Okay.
And she just seemed like a safe, easy person to start with.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I told her, and it wasn't bad. I didn't feel like she was judgmental or condemning me or anything, and she said, well, my daughter was actually there at the time, and she asked her what she wanted to do. My daughter just wasn't sure, but she said, we love you. We still want to have you around. And it was great, way better than I expected. I had a lot of anxiety.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how people are going to respond to that.
No, you don't know if they're just going to shut the door in your face and never talk to you again or what. You don't know. But I started telling other people in my ward, and my bishop, and a lot of other people and leaders, and I felt like everything's been fine.
Okay,
I mean, maybe
good.
like I said, maybe they judge me behind my back, but so far I haven't felt it. I feel like everybody's just been really understanding and
yeah, that's good. So you started with somebody that felt safe, or that you felt like might be understanding and less judgmental.
Yes.
That's a really great call on your part. And so it made it easier for you, and then it made it easier for you to tell the next person, because like you didn't have like this crushing experience. But part of it is, it sounds like the attitude that you approached this with was probably really helpful to helping people respond that way. So give us some ideas about the attitude you went about this with, and how you think the attitude maybe could affect how people respond to you.
Well, I don't think it was a complete shock for people because I wasn't completely entangled in it. So I do understand that people that are, it's going to be a lot harder for them than it was for me. But I came at it with a place of love. I wasn't angry, but again, I hadn't been so entangled. But nevertheless, I just told them how I felt, and I said, I've got a lot of reasons why. If you're ever interested, I'll be happy to. We can talk about that.
So you're not cramming your reasons down people's throat, right?
No.
Okay. But you're open about that.
Yeah.
So if they do want to talk. Yeah. Okay.
And I let them know, I still really love and respect you. And, I feel like coming at it from that place of loving and respecting them instead of I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it was very helpful.
Right, because they're not evil. They're not like, they're just your neighbors, and, and they maybe haven't thought about things you've thought about or had opportunity to. And so that's really good that you can come at it, without hostility and without antagonism. Because it seems like a lot of people they're angry, right? Because they feel like, oh my gosh, I've been betrayed or I've been lied to or whatever. And they're angry about it. And so they really, when you lash out, it's not surprising when people push back with the same kind of hostility too.
And I get that for the people that are angry. I get how they're angry.
Yeah.
The problem is that when they start dealing with other people out of anger, they're going to get it back.
No doubt.
So I think they need to really pray about it and ask Jesus, ask God for help before they actually go and discuss it with people.
Yeah. And I think it's a really good idea to keep in mind that these are valuable relationships. And so, it's worth it to stay in relationship with people rather than just burning your bridges all at once. Because you never know how conversations could open up in the future, or somebody else has a need, or that they don't really, in Mormonism, have the freedom to wear on their sleeve, and they might need to turn to you at some point in time.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but what about those people who maybe they've tried to be congenial and they tried to be gentle and loving, and they've tried to find the right person to talk to, but they still get scorched, because maybe their family is deeply entrenched or whatever it is. In other words, help us, the person who doesn't maybe have the great experience that you had, how would you help them to make sense out of that? Or what counsel would you give them?
Yeah, so for me, my family isn't very active, but a little. My mom cherry picks what she likes and throws out the rest and shows up for church once in a while. When I told her, she wasn't exactly happy. Yeah. And she told me that my children would suffer, which they haven't, by the way. It's been great. Mm-hmm. But for people like that, in that situation where they're entangled and the whole family, I would still start with somebody who's safe. Yeah. Safer than the family. And then slowly
and work toward that makes sense.
The family. Mm-hmm. Don't start out with the person that is going to be the most upset, your parents or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great point. Mm-hmm.
And then realize that even though you probably will be met with hostility because they feel like you're tearing up the family or whatever, in the next life, but just remember that Jesus is more important than all the hostility, and just keep the faith, keep praying, and keep that in mind, and keep continuing to show love and respect to them. Yeah. And maybe at some point you'll be able to change their heart. Maybe you won't, but just be the best person you can be with them.
Right. And I love the fact that you bring in this, that really Jesus is greater than the hostility, and he's worth it. He's more important, and he's working in your life. Even through that hostility that I might get from others, Jesus can use that in my life to help do some things in me that he wants to do in me. Mm-hmm. So keep trusting him throughout the whole thing, regardless of what response that people make. So hope this has been encouraging to you. If you're facing that moment, you got to tell somebody at some point, because you don't want to be a fake, as Jocelyn was saying. You want to be authentic. So at some point when you tell people, hopefully this is going to give you some encouragement about how to go about thinking about that. And regardless of what the outcome is, you can trust Jesus with this important decision in your life. Thanks for watching today.